I'm kind of getting suited up here. I'm at the trailhead. I got about 4.5 miles to go. I'm not going in for bear or anything. I'm just kind of going to scout this area. This isn't really a bear area. It's that time of year though. I probably won't start hunting bear till May 15th. My area's closed until then. So I've got, as far as new gear goes, I've put some miles on these already. These are the new Crispy Alpine Pros. Those might be taking the place of my Zamberlan 2092s. Putting some more miles on those. This is the Mystery Ranch Metcalf, or excuse me, Mystery Ranch Marshall with their new frame. And I've already put quite a bit of miles on this, but every pack I've tested this year, I've tried to put a pretty significant amount of miles on. This is the last one, and this is probably my favorite bag of all time. It's the same as the old Mystery Ranch 6500. It's just been upgraded. So I got the snowshoes, not going to bring those. It's like 50 degrees right now. There's a ton of snow up in the high country. And then I've got down here, this is that multi-pack from Marsupial, but I've been screwing around. This is that new knife. I think they were calling it the Sear 25, but this is the New Montana Knife Company kind of bushcraft sear knife. I don't know what they're going to end up calling it, but I don't know if I like this. I've got it on the bottom of the multi-pack. Not sure how that's going to go. For this stuff, it's going to be finer for teaching, but obviously if I'm hunting, I got my bino pack on. I've got the Argali Rincon shelter in there in the stove. Tonight it is supposed to drop almost 30 degrees and it's going to snow my entire way out tomorrow. So what else do I got in there? The new Drifter hydration system. I've been screwing around with that, and a couple new pieces of clothing from Born Primitive that we're going to come out with soon. I think I can talk about it. It's called the Headwind Fleece. It's a wind blocking fleece, really good for bow hunting. We've been working on that for over a year. Not sure what else I've got in there, but either way, kind of keep everybody updated as I'm going in. I got to do a better job of that, and then I'll do some tech tip stuff when I'm in there. Probably just go over a little bit of fire building, water purification, normal stuff. Kind of may break out the cell phone, do a time lapse, setting up the shelter. So either way, I'll try to keep it documented pretty good as I'm going in, and yeah, hope everybody likes tuning in along the journey. Holy cow, I had to get some pants on after that last video. My legs are white. Kind of adding to that video though, the springtime, whether it be for spring bear or whatever, everybody's kind of cooped up and wants to get out, and this is a great time to test out new gear, test out your system. You may not end up replacing anything, but this is a good time to test out new boots like I'm doing, new packs. Make sure your shelter's still good, get your air pad blown up, make sure that thing doesn't have any holes in it, and then kind of go through your kit, right? Figure out what needs to stay, what can go, can you save any weight, and you may end up going back to exactly what you had before. You never know, but springtime's definitely a good time to do that, and that's one of the things I'm going to be doing on this trip. Like I said, I think I'm going to go about 4.5 miles in. I may push 6 depending upon the snow line, but I will check back in about halfway through. And then again, when I get to camp and get that set up, definitely going to do a video on, you know, how I build fire, get a fire going with what's back there in wet conditions without using, like, you know, those fire biscuits I built or trioxane, kind of go through that. So either way, I need to get finished up, start the hike in, and yeah, hopefully you guys like the adventure, and gals. Well, it's official. I need to work on my cardio. That was about 1,000 feet in 1.5 miles, which I would normally tear up, and there was no tearing up there. Had knee surgery into January. Hadn't done much cardio since until last week, so not as bad as I thought it would be, but there's definitely some room for improvement. Anyway, I'm about almost 2 miles in now. Things are going good, knees don't hurt, just breathing hard and sweating. Alrighty, well, I'm a little under 2 mile an hour pace, a little bit slower than I'm used to, but it's the off season and a pat. So anyway, I'm gonna camp somewhere back there, below that mountain pass tonight. Probably just get to where the snow line's bad, and then I'll camp there, and probably don't like camping too close to a creek just because I can't hear anything. So I'll be close enough to the creek where it's not too far to get water. But hiking wasn't too bad. Didn't sweat to death. I'm hungry as hell. So I'm gonna get back there, probably do time lapse setting up camp, go over some gear, and then probably get some food. So yeah, not doing too bad. Hitting some snow now. I think I see a pretty good camp spot up here. Snow's definitely getting deeper, but there was a bald patch that was flat about 200 meters from the water, which is about perfect for me. So yeah, I'm hopefully gonna be okay. This snow's pretty deep. There's a creek going under it, which is why I'm standing on the edge of it. But yeah, snow's definitely about 9,800 feet right here, and snow's definitely starting to pile up. So I doubt I'm gonna try to climb that mountain pass tomorrow, but you never know, might feel froggy. But it's supposed to be a blizzard tonight, so it'll be a definitely a different look when I come out tomorrow or the day after, because it's supposed to snow like crazy. Got a pretty good flat spot here. It'll be perfect for camp. A couple terraces up from the creek, so not too bad. Can't really tell. Beautiful view back there though. And then I got plenty of firewood obviously around, so for my stove. I brought that Argali with the titanium stove, so I'm gonna set up camp right in there in my tent and get something to eat here. Okay, so as you can see, my time lapse got screwed up, but I added some guy outlines. Those are new, and what I have here is a bow line up top, and get that out easy. And then as you come down where I've got the stake, I have got a taut line hitch right there, and I've done videos on that you can check out, and I can go over that later, or come to one of the courses. I put those on the 3 sides, and then in here I got a piece of Tyvek for my ground sheet, and then I'm going to put the stove together, and that'll go right there. So it's a pretty good camp spot. Adding those guy outlines is a huge deal. I'm supposed to get pretty good storm tonight, definitely in the morning, so that'll help give me more space with the guy outlines on the inside, and then also help for snow and wind loads, which is both, you know, very important. Now I'm going to get the rest of my crap inside the shelter, and again, that's the Argali Rincon 2-person. I'm going to go down to the water, go down to the creek and get water, come up, and then I'm going to start gathering firewood. And I've got firewood everywhere. I actually brought my silky saw, so usually I just break it with my foot, but I'm going to put a little bit more effort into it. I got time, and get ready for a very cold night. It's supposed to drop almost 30 degrees. Got a little bit of a moose swamp behind me that I came through. I'm kind of up there somewhere, but came down here to get water. The spring runoff's definitely starting to hit. Some of this is covered with ice and snow, and then some's wide open. I just videoed it a minute ago, but I said there's supposed to be one hell of a storm coming tonight, so let's see how it goes. I'm definitely gonna get a lot of firewood, but I'm gonna get my water here and get back up, go over some gear stuff, and chill out for a little bit. I haven't eaten yet either. I'm starving because I'm a fat kid. So I got water, 3 liters, 2 in there, 1 in my, a little over 1 in my bottle. But one thing I was going to mention, there's a significant amount of moose shit in that moose swamp, so this isn't something I would just drink straight out of unless I absolutely had to. So either a purifier, you know, some kind of a purification system or filtration system. In this case, I'm using MSR Aqua Tabs, but I've got the drifter hydration system with me as well, and that would work just fine too. And I'll use both of those, but for the bigger water right now, I'm using MSR Aqua Tabs. But definitely with that amount of moose shit, you want to filter or purify your water. Well, my mic's not working, so I don't know how bad the audio is going to be for this, but I'm just collecting firewood for the stove right now. Some of this stuff I can break over my knee, and then other stuff I'm going to cut with the saw just to get it in a better length or whatever, a little more accurate. How's that? My arm looks good? So the wind's kind of died down. I wanted to go over basically, once I get to a campsite, I'm just hiking through the woods or whatever, what I'm looking for that I'm going to gather to help me build a fire later. That may be later that day, that may be later that week, because sometimes it's a lot easier to find than others, so always be looking for that. And what I'm talking about, it's not just wood, that's easy, but the things that are going to help get the fire going initially. So one of the things I'll look for is like red pine needles, dry grass, certain types of bark from certain trees. You know, that really depends on the location. So I'm going to flip the phone around and just from my tent kind of show you what I have to get a fire going with a ferro rod really quickly. So let me flop this around. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be looking for is I've got quite a bit of pitch here in different spots and bark, and then red pine needles. So here we've hit the mother lode over here. Look at all that pitch on that tree. So all I'm gonna do is just take my Ziploc bag and just start collecting this stuff. There's some red pine needles there. There's a bunch there, right there. And I'm gonna collect all this stuff, some dry grass, and then kind of show you up here where it's realistic, where I'm not out of the wind totally, but enough, and show you how easy it is if I put a little effort into it to get a fire going. That's money right there. That stuff lights up like crazy. Got all kinds of pitch here. And I'll grab some dead sticks here in a minute, take that Montana knife and kind of make some basically tinder, where I'm just going to kind of whittle down some pieces that makes it a little bit easier to get started. All right, so the temperature's dropping, but I don't have rain yet, but it is getting cloudy. So I've got my little bag of tricks here, and the reason why I'm showing you this is really practice this. Like literally when you're walking around in the woods, figure out what burns easiest in your area, research that, and then again, practice with a ferro rod. A ferro rod doesn't fail you, where matches can be a pain and a lighter obviously can fail you. And then just come out and practice, just see what works. So either way, I'm gonna dump my little bag of tricks out. This is what I gathered around the camp. And then, you know, when you're walking somebody into an animal or target or whatever, it's like, you know, macro to micro. When you build a fire, micro to macro. So you want to start with the small stuff that's easiest to burn first. So I've got my grass and my bark. I'm going to crunch this up, get that ready to go, make a little nest. I've got pine needles everywhere, and then I want to make sure I've got all my little sticks ready. So these are going to be really small, dry little sticks. I'm going to get those ready to stack on once I get this going. And I should say, make sure people know, just because the pine needles are red does not make them dry, so make sure they're dry. So going through this kind of quick, but I got my little ball there. Crunch that up a little bit better, make my nest. Now what you want to do, not a horrible idea, is take my giant ass knife, because it makes me feel cool, and make feather sticks. So a feather stick, there's tons of videos on those. It's basically where you're just peeling back small layers making feathers, where you can just set the stick into the fire. Or another thing that isn't a horrible idea is just peeling feathers off this dry wood and just make a pile of them. And again, just practice this. And all I'm doing is keeping the blade at a steep, or I guess it wouldn't be a steep angle. And I'm just making these little curly cues. Get a bunch of those. And usually what I'll do is throw them in that nest. Once that gets sparked, those will get going. And the more the merrier on this stuff. So if I wanted to go to town on this, get those piled up in my little ball of happiness here. I've got my pitch and bark and stuff up here. Those pine needles are a little bit wet. Yeah, and I'm just showing you this to show that it's pretty easy without any kind of a fire starter, and it's also a good idea to practice. over here. I got a little bit thinner stick. This thing's dead as can be. Got a little bit of wind to make it more challenging for me. Okay. Probably overdid it on those. And complete honesty, I got a ferro rod here, but if I was really in deep shit, I've got trioxane tablet here, which I always have on me. So I think that's nice with a ferro rod. This is a Baolite Baolite, I think is how they pronounce it. It comes with a little striker. I've got a bunch of these at the house, but even the little 1/8 inch or whatever they are, 3/16, 1/8 ferro rods are handy to have. I got a couple in here as well. These never fail. This isn't the lightest thing in the world, but anytime I'm doing anything like this where I'm not going ultra light, like on a high country deer hunt or whatever, I'll have one of these big ones. And then the smaller ones, you can order them in like boxes of 24 for like 12 bucks. And then I'll have one of these little strikers and carry a couple of those small ones with me. But all right, let's give this a whirl. All right, she's going. Stack these little sticks on here. And again, you kind of want to do a better job prepping than I did, but macro to micro, these sticks are a little bit big. Get those on there. Pitch bark wrapped around it. Ooh, that's a big old ball of pitch there. Okay. All right, and it's cranking. So that didn't take that much effort. Everything's dry here. It's been snowing quite a bit off and on, but fire's going. I would have bigger sticks graduating up, keep piling them on there, and next thing you know, I'd have a 5-foot fire that I got to stay 15 feet back from, because that's the way I roll. You know, in the end, obviously, I've got all these bigger sticks, prep them, have them ready, and then you got them, just stack it on. So again, micro to macro, you're gonna start with the pine needles, the dead grass, certain kinds of bark on trees, make your nest, and then again, don't forget to bring a dump bag, just a small bag that you don't mind jacking up because you're gonna get pitch in it and stuff like that. You know, and then when you're seeing things, when you're around camp, hiking throughout the day, just grab some, throw it in there. It's like a dump bag. Like 500 D Cordura 330 pack cloth, they make great little bags. Not even a bad idea to put belt loops on it, to where if you're going out to look for this stuff, attach it to your belt, you can just dump it in there. So either way, macro to micro, figure out in your area, your region, where it burns best, and then go out and practice it, and then practice using a ferro rod. This is the big one from Baolite. Get the small ones, practice with those, and then make sure either the back of your knife works for a striker, or bring a striker with you. Makes your life a lot easier. I got to put this out now because I don't want a big fire. And you really wanted to practice those feather sticks and making feathers without cutting your leg off. They're just handy. It's just easy to, you know, basically whittle down like I was, get a big pile of them, and that was a huge part of getting this going. So I'm going to take my foot, stomp this bitch out, and go back and make dinner. Okay, I'm going to try to film this And that's just the feathers I'm talking about. And if you were going to make a feather stick, you'd leave those on a smaller stick just like that and throw it in the fire. But these are super handy building a fire. Alright, so that's kind of a top-down view of what those feathers look like. You can see they're all piled up right here. And then that's what they look like on the stick. And super handy. They light up like crazy. But yeah, it's just, that's it. Well, the mic is not working and the wind is gusting quite a bit from time to time. I think I'm going to drop the center pole and get the edges down a little bit more on the shelter. The storm's definitely coming in, but it's still not too cold. I think I got enough flare. A good spring one. A little bit more. Probably won't eat until 5:30, and then I've been getting that much sleep at home, so I don't sleep that much anyway, so it'll give me a good chance. Go to bed early here, maybe 8, 9 o'clock, and then probably just get a rip-roaring fire going in the morning. Try to pack all my stuff inside without burning a hole through it with the stove. And then what I'll probably end up doing, I usually put my sleeping bag on the bottom, and with that Marshall, it's a separate compartment. So what I think I'm going to probably do is just load up everything up top and then just wedge this bad boy in the bottom wet, because I'm not going to have a chance to get it dry, and then haul ass out of here. Depending. If the weather's not bad, I'm probably gonna push into another area, but I don't have high hopes for that. So anyway, I'm probably gonna get a little bit more firewood, I guess, and then go over some gear stuff here in a minute. Wanted to go through a few gear items that I brought with me. Some of them are near and dear to my heart that I've used for a long time. Some of them are newer. One is this system I'm using right here. It's the Osmo Mimo 3, I think is what it's called. But I can attach the camera to my phone, and then I can look and make sure I'm whatever in the center of the photo or video. And you know, for solo backpacking like I'm doing now, it works pretty dang good. Got a couple extra batteries, more than enough. I brought this small tripod because I didn't want to carry the weight in for a big one. But that's one thing, and I'm just going to leave that recording. The next one in no specific order, and I hope like I can talk about this. But if not, Jerry's going to edit this out. And that is this fleece jacket. And this is from Born Primitive Outdoor. It is not available yet. I don't even know if we're going to make it in black. But this is the Headwind fleece. And Kurt and Frankie and I have been working on this for almost a year now. Bow hunter fleece, wind blocker, extremely quiet, very quiet. And it's, I used it in BC, the green jacket. If anybody saw that, I was wearing all the time. Used it in Wyoming. Very warm. TPU coating, I think, as well, or membrane. So this thing has been awesome, and I've used this for about a year. So fairly new. This right here is, I've been testing out backpacks. This is a Mystery Ranch Marshall with the Mysterium system or frame. I'm not sure, I guess that's frame. This is the newer frame. It does not squeak. That was a huge issue, which is why I never talked about the old stuff. This thing has been awesome for me, and overall, this is definitely the pack that is the winner for this year. You know, for me, for all the different packs I've tested. I say that as overall. Kafaro carries heavy loads, great. Initial Ascent will give them a run for their money. Stone Glacier is lightweight, but this bag is the same as the old Mystery Ranch 65 and 7500 that I used for years. They just made it better, and they made it lighter. So it's got the pockets that I like, the bottom sleeping bag compartment, and everything else. So this thing has been awesome, but I've only been testing it for about a month. So, you know, keep that in mind. Next thing, the Silky Saw. Now this big one here is not usually what I'm going to pack in. I couldn't find my smaller version. I've got a smaller one that's about half this size, but this bad boy is the bomb.com. I didn't, again, need one this big for what I'm doing with getting stove for the firewood, or for the box stove, for wood for the box stove, but I've used these for a long time. I got a big old dongle of one in my truck. Next thing, I love this stove. I swapped this one out. The old one I had was probably 14 years old. This is the MSR XGK. Now, I also have a very love affair with the Whisper Light and the Whisper Light International. Dragonfly's awesome. But gun to my head, I would use the XGK or that Whisper Light. And these are not ultralight backpacker type stoves, but when you're dealing with maybe bad weather, boiling snow, things like that, this thing is awesome. For a multi-fuel stove, compacts down quite a bit, and I'll go into detail on the multi-fuel stoves where those things come in handy. This is just the cook set I brought with it. This thing here I just started using, this big old dongle of a cook kit. It's light as can be. This is from Tokes, but for boiling snow this thing's pretty handy, so I brought that. And again, it wasn't horribly heavy coming in. Definitely could have went lighter weight. This is the Flex Tail. This is a light and a blower upper, right? So I hate blowing up air pads. Comes with a bunch of attachments. This is great when you build a fire to pop that right at the base of the fire, the heat. It'll get that thing cranking. Definitely worth its weight in gold. And then if I can remember, it's also got a light. The battery lasts forever in this thing. I didn't charge it for an entire year. I only use that light when I have to, but it does work good hanging it up in the tent. Next thing, this is newer, Moose Ridge Nutrition. This is the protein pack, and I'm gonna beef bourguignon. I don't know how to pronounce that. The salmon chowder is my favorite. This is my second favorite, and these protein packs are awesome. This is breakfast sausage, mostly because I ran out. This is the last one I had. This is just straight up protein, 9 grams, 210 calories. And then this is 64 grams of protein, 860 calories, and it weighs 4 ounces. So very good. They taste really good, and they're good people. I did a podcast with them. This here was something we worked on forever. This is the Mission Flex 4-way stretch rain gear. I got the bottoms in the tent. These are awesome, especially the bottoms when you have to actually wear rain gear, because it's like wearing stretchy, like hiking pants. So this has definitely been my favorite rain gear of all time, and I beat the shit out of that in British Columbia. Next up, this is the Sun Shirt 2.0. I try not to like overly sell BP because I don't want to be a salesman, but the 2.0, one of the nicest things about it is it's got this mask on the inside. And so this is handy for hot or even cold weather. Sometimes I'll have this as an intermediate layer when the weather is kind of doing up and downs, and this will actually help quite a bit for heat on your face. So that's the Sun Shirt. Next up, this is the multi-pack from Marsupial Gear. For the most part, when I'm hunting, I never wear one of these. I wear a bino harness from Marsupial, but for stuff like this, this thing is awesome. Next up, this is the new knife. They were gonna call it the Sear. It's like I don't know what the name they're gonna call it or whatever, but this is the new kind of bushcraft knife from Montana Knife. Relatively lightweight for the size. And again, for this stuff that I'm doing and this class I'm about to teach, this thing's great if I have to baton or any kind of, heavier use or heavy work type stuff. This thing's great. I obviously designed the Jackstone with Josh as well. Next thing is the InReach Messenger. This thing is awesome. Everybody should have something like this. That Messenger I've used a lot. That's it. Other than that, I was going to go over a couple knots. The bow line and that taut line hitch, we're going to teach that in the course that we're having next week. And then right here, this is just a daisy chain. This doesn't have anything to do with gear, but I would learn to do the daisy chain because it basically, you can unwrap it fast, and then it keeps your cordage from getting super tangled up. The cordage I'm using, which is actually what I was initially going to talk about, this stuff is 2.3 millimeter reflective guy line, and I think everybody should have 50 to 100 feet of this. I don't like P-cord that much. It's a little overboard for what I need it for. This stuff's great, and again, it's reflective. And then as far as the daisy chain goes, get it started here, and then I'll step on it. And the daisy chain is what I have found to be most effective for not letting your crap get tangled. And again, once you get it where you want it, when you need it,
you just pull the loop and it all comes undone. So super handy and effective, but that is not what I was going to talk about initially. I was just going to talk about the cord. So I'm going to pull this again, and there's videos online. We'll teach this stuff at the academy courses, but definitely this daisy chain's handy. The prusik knot, taut line hitch, bowline, figure 4 retrace, sheep shank, trucker's hitch. Those are all important knots. We'll teach those. That's about all the gear I was going to go over. The thing that's nice with that multi-fuel stove is when you travel, you can put diesel, just regular unleaded, whatever. You got to change out the pisser with some of them. And then this trip's only a night or two, so I got the small bottle. The bigger bottle, the 22 ounce, it'll run, I timed it 106 minutes at high altitude straight before it runs out of fuel, so that's pretty dang good. Above and beyond that, that new Argali Rincon and that titanium stove from Argali, which is what's behind you that I'm staying in, that thing has been a game changer because it's literally a 4-season, 3-season, and a 2-season, meaning I can just run it with no bug shelter. I can put the half cert in, I got a bug shelter, and then I can run the stove. I'm going to lower the pull down here in a minute and get those sides a little closer to the ground because we are supposed to get some horrible weather later. So either way, a little bit of the gear that I brought, that some of it's new, some of it's old, that I've definitely, am recommending. I've had really good luck with it. Other than that, these actually, which I wasn't going to talk about, the Sea to Summit dry sacks. So this one, you make sure, like, this is the lightweight. This is a 35 liter. And it's from recycled fabric, which is even better. I've had good luck with these. The ultralight ones, not so much. But I've had these bags all over the place. I use them from everything from collecting water and snow, keeping my gear safe. This thing's bright as shit. So this is actually the kind of bag I would use to hang my gear up a week or so ahead of time before I hike in. So the Sea to Summit dry sacks are really cool too. So either way, I'm gonna go get some more firewood, and I'll probably talk to the camera again later on inside the tent when I'm making my dinner, because I'm gonna get bored as shit out here, and I am solo, which is okay. It's nice to be solo. Sometimes I like going with my buddies too, but sometimes it's nice to just get away. I usually sleep better when I'm solo, and when I don't have service and I'm solo, it's even better. That's probably the reason I don't sleep. I say probably. When I'm in like BC or wherever else and I don't have cell service, I sleep really well. And it's just a matter of like the dogs, and then messages and everything else. So I'm really trying to work on my sleep lately. It has nothing to do with gear at all, but hopefully I get some sleep tonight. And like I said, it's going to give me an opportunity to go to bed early. But anyway, I'll stop talking now.
It's about 8:40, and I'm gonna go to bed. See what the weather does. I miss my dogs. I got the stove hot in here. Good Lord. The weather's good. I might hike out and hike into another area and stay another night. If the weather's bad, I'm probably gonna hike out, but I might take off in the dark. I got to do some paperwork. I got to get a hold of everybody going to the academy course next week. Make sure everybody's lined out, and got some other projects I'm working on, but we'll see. A good night's rest always brings good counsel, they say. So, yeah, I'm going to go to sleep. I just took a trazodone. Hopefully I'll sleep. It'd be nice to sleep 7 hours, 8 hours. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I pooped, so I'm going to go to bed, and I'll tune back in the morning. Well, it looks like I'm ready to jump out of an airplane, but I can see really well with these, so that's all important. I wiped one of my contacts out last night, so the temperature dropped a whole lot. I'm heading to a new spot. It didn't really, it just rained. I thought that was snow last night. It just rained, and then as the temperatures dropped, it stopped, precipitation stopped. So had a little flurries a little bit ago when I was getting the tent taken down, but I'm gonna head to this next spot, see if I want to stay another night or head out. Made it to the second camp spot. The temperature's definitely dropped. It's below freezing now, but no snow, which is good. Had some flurries, rained last night, but no snow yet. I think I'm gonna go home and play with my dogs though. I'm gonna mark this campsite out. It is pretty nice, really flat. cool backdrop. You can't see all the scenery behind me, but pretty amazing scenery. I got to get a list together for the students when they show up for the academy. Just it's kind of just standard. I'll have a list. Say, show me your sleeping bags, show me your pad, your shit kit, all that kind of stuff. Make sure everybody's equipped, that they're not missing anything, and get a hold of everybody. Make sure everybody's still good to go. So I should probably get all that taken care of. Plus, I miss the boys. I'm gonna go play with my dogs. Yeah, I don't have too far to go. I think I'm gonna cut up and over, kind of bushwhack it to the car. So it shouldn't take me more than a couple hours to get out. Hour and a half, not too bad. But yeah, comment below if there's anything you want to see more of, more gear lists, more tech tips, stuff like that. As the weather gets better, I'm going to be bear hunting soon. I'll go into that quite a bit more. That'll go into scouting, or I'll get a lot more into the hunting side of things. So either way, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. I'm trying to get better. And yeah, hope you like joining along.